I am Mohammed Ahmed, and I have selected the topic of studying the effect of foreign direct investment and inflation on GDP per capita. This study comprises of the cross-sectional study of 130 countries for the year 2022. The data has been taken from the World Bank. Gross domestic product per capita is a key indicator that reflects the average economic output per person. It shows the standard of living and economic prosperity of a country. The more the GDP per capita, the more developed and wealthier the economy. Foreign direct investment plays a vital role in economic development. It brings the advanced technology, management practices, and open access to the global markets. It creates jobs, improves infrastructure, and thus has a positive relationship with gross domestic product per capita. Inflation refers to the general increase in the prices over time. The more the inflation, the less the purchasing power of the country. People, it creates uncertainty for the investors and therefore disrupt the economic planning. Thus, inflation has a negative relation with gross domestic product. This data has been taken after the COVID-19 pandemic for the year 2022, and thus we will see that there is a volatile inflation and fluctuating FDI. The research problem and questions which we are going to answer in this study are that how foreign direct investment inflows impact the GDP per capita and how inflation rate CPI impact the GDP per capita. There are two hypotheses. First hypothesis is that higher foreign direct investment leads to higher GDP per capita, and the hypothesis 2 is higher inflation leads to lower GDP per capita. We will be proving this with a regression analysis in the coming slides. Foreign direct investment boosts the capital, technology transfer and productivity, and hence have a positive relationship. This relationship has also been studied in the previous studies, which shows that GDP per capita and FDI are directly related. The more the FDIs, the more GDP per capita. Moderate inflation or little inflation is good for the growth of the economy, but high inflation reduces the purchasing power and discourages investment. Therefore, inflation has an inverse relationship with GDP per capita. The data I have taken for this study is cross-sectional data. The data includes 130 countries for the year 2022. World Bank indicators were used to gather the data. There are three variables. First is GDP per capita, which is a dependent variable. Two independent variables were taken: foreign direct investment and inflation rate. I have used two models, linear model and logarithmic model, to better explain the relationship of FDI on GDP and inflation rate on GDP. The diagnoses which I have used are WIF and heteroskedasticity. The descriptive statistics show that GDP per capita mean of the data is $13,215 US, minimum is $250 US, and maximum is $108,000. This shows the poor countries as well as the better developed countries. Mean FDI inflows were calculated in the percentage of GDP form, and mean comes out to be 4.116% of the GDP. Mean inflation comes out to be 9.9%, which shows the volatile nature of inflation. And this is mainly due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the slow recovery of economic growth. The correlation matrix shows a positive correlation between FDI with a value of 0.251. Thus, FDI is a positive relation on GDP per capita, as well as inflation shows a negative correlation between GDP per capita and inflation. Scatter plot shows the same. Inflation has a negative slope, while foreign direct investment has a positive slope with GDP per capita. Regression results show that FDI is significantly related to GDP per capita. It is a p-value of 0.007. Thus, 1 unit of FDI increases $880 GDP. Inflation has a negative sign, but it has not a significant value. Its p-value is 0.109, and overall model fitness test is 0.082. Thus, it shows that this model shows 8.2% effect of FDI and inflation on GDP per capita. WIF and heteroskedasticity shows that there is a skewness in data, while there is no multicollinearity between the variables. To better understand the further effect, I have taken the logarithmic model, and logarithmic model also shows the positive relation between foreign direct investment and GDP per capita, and negative correlation between inflation and GDP per capita. Scatter plot shows the same relation. Inflation has a negative slope, while foreign direct investment has a positive slope. The regression analysis shows the significant effect of inflation on GDP per capita. With 1% increase in inflation, there is a 0.5% decrease in GDP, and its significant value is 0.004. This volatile nature shows the slow economic growth of the economies after being uh, hit by COVID-19. And also 1% increase in FDI shows 0.15% increase in GDP, but that is not significant. Its p-value is 0.117. Overall model fitness is 9.1%, which shows that FDI and inflation show the effect on GDP per capita nearly 9.1%. WIF and heteroscedasticity test shows that there is no multicollinearity and there is no skewness, because logarithmic model normally distributes the whole variables. Summary of findings. The summary shows that FDI is positively associated with GDP per capita, and inflation negatively affects GDP per capita, which was more significant in the logarithmic model. The R square value of logarithmic model was better. Therefore, logarithmic model is better for explaining the relationship. Conclusion. We conclude that FDI remains a key growth catalyst post-pandemic. The more foreign direct investment in the countries, the more easy they are able to grow. Inflation control is crucial for economic stability. Therefore, policymakers should balance investment and inflation control. Limitations of this study are that it uses cross-sectional data, and therefore we cannot study the effect over the time. Only two independent variables were included, while GDP per capita can be affected by many other variables, and there are large data variations due to economies suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. The developed countries are getting to the economic growth fast, while the underdeveloped countries are not that much good in economic growth. A recommendation is that we can use more macroeconomic variables in future studies. We can use the panel data analysis by seeing the time frame as well as the different countries, and we can make certain income groups to better get the insights. Thank you.